After 14 months of hiatus since the party unification, the ruling Nepal Communist Party has finally determined its leadership at the district level. There have, however, emerged differences over the leadership of the party's departments between the erstwhile CPN-UML and Maoist Center factions. Good morning, I am Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Provincial and local governments refuse to implement infrastructure projects assigned by central government, citing of lack of resources. More than 7,000 projects worth 26 billion rupees stranded. Price of vegetables in Kathmandu skyrockets to the plight of consumers. Authorities shy away from their responsibility in the pretext of pesticide tests and inundation of the Tarai region. Tens of thousands take to the streets in Hong Kong for the 7th consecutive weekend amid an ongoing political crisis over a now suspended extradition bill. And T20 World Cup Asia region qualifiers begins in Singapore. Host Singapore taking on Qatar in the inaugural match. Nepal play against Qatar tomorrow. The ruling Nepal Communist Party has finally determined its in-charge and joint in-charge of districts after 14 months since the party unification. The dispute on the party's departmental leadership is, however, yet to be resolved due to the clash of interest between the party leaders. The Secretariat meeting held at the Prime Minister's official residence at Balodar yesterday was slated to conclude all the issues regarding the intra-party integration. The process of integration, however, has been pushed further due to differences between the factions affiliated with the then CPN-UML and CPN Maoist Center. As per the agreement held between party chairman duo KP Sharma Oli and Pushpakamal Dahal, the then CPN-UML was supposed to lead 18 departments and CPN Maoist Center 14 departments. At the meeting, the erstwhile Maoist Center leaders demanded for the leadership of the Department of Schools that was supposed to be under the faction of the erstwhile CPN-UML as per the agreement. The leadership of the remaining departments thus have also been postponed to be sorted out later. On a different note, leader Bamdev Gautam insisted that he would hold the leadership of the party's organizational department. Party's spokesperson Naran Kazi Shrestha, however, termed Gautam's claim as his personal aspiration.
सबै विभागको चाहिँ बाँकी छ सबै विभाग बाँकी छ संगठन विभाग म हुने कुरा पक्का छ
वामदेव कमरेडलाई लाग्या होला पक्का अब पछि बस्ने सचिवालयको बैठकले महिलाई निर्णय गर्छ भने लाग्या होला निर्णयकै भएको छ.
Nonetheless, the meeting determined the in-charge and joint in-charge of all the 77 districts along with 6 metropolitan cities. Some of the districts have up to 10 joint in-charges due to too many aspirants, while there are no in-charges in other districts. Now, more than 7,000 infrastructure development projects worth 26 billion rupees have turned uncertain due to the lack of cooperation between the three levels of the government. The projects that are contracted and handed over by the central government have been stranded after the provincial and local levels refused to implement them, citing scarcity of resources. Last year, the central government assigned the provincial and local governments with the responsibility of implementing more than 7,000 road development projects across the country. They are, however, hardly on the verge of completion as both the provincial and local governments have refused to undergo their execution, citing lack of assurance of resource by the central government. They have not even prioritized such projects in their annual budgets. The Ministry of Physical Infrastructure has, however, insisted that the works related to the infrastructure development projects would gain momentum, citing that enough budget has been allocated for them in the current fiscal year. The multi-year contracts of a majority of the projects pending since last year have already ended. The issue regarding the extension of the contract deadlines is also yet to be resolved. Analysts are of the view that the government should avoid stranding the projects that have already undergone significant expenditures in one or the other pretext, and that the central government should make concrete efforts to coordinate with the provincial and local governments to expedite the project works at the earliest. The vegetable traders of Kathmandu have skyrocketed the price of vegetables, citing imports from India have decreased due to the tests of pesticide residue on vegetables at the customs offices of Nepal-India border and vegetable farming in Mirtarai inundated due to the recent floods. The price of tomatoes in Kathmandu's wholesale market ranged from 90 to 95 rupees per kilogram yesterday, while a kilogram of string beans were sold from 100 to 115 rupees. Likewise, ladies' fingers and cauliflower were sold for up to 120 rupees per kilogram. Similarly, sponge gourd and green beans were sold for more than 80 rupees per kilogram at the wholesale market. The price of these vegetables were 50 to 60 rupees at the retail market 3 weeks ago. However, the consumers were paying an average of 150 rupees per kilogram for these vegetables at the retail market yesterday. The import of vegetables from India were affected after the decision to carry out tests of pesticide residue on vegetables at the Nepal-India border. On top of that, the recent floods in Mid-Tarai also damaged vegetable farming in the region. The vegetable traders believe the price of the vegetables will not decrease until the supply from the Tarai is increased. There are up to 4 levels of middlemen in the vegetable business. The middlemen do not back away from taking advantage of the situation when the supply of vegetables is low. However, the lack of monitoring has given leeway for the traders to charge exorbitant prices. In order to control the price of vegetables from skyrocketing, the Department of Commerce, Supply and Consumer Protection Management should carry out regular monitorings and punish the guilty. Likewise, the Ministry of Agriculture should also operate effective programs in order to lower the import of vegetables. Feeding children with easily available junk foods, especially to avoid the hassles of homemade or locally available dishes, has been a commonplace among a majority of the Nepalese in recent times. Parents or guardians are, however, often unaware about the negative impact on the health of children induced by such commercial food items. Even the children hailing from strong economic backgrounds in Kathmandu have been found malnourished due to the heavy consumption of such junk foods available in the market. A study has revealed that children have been receiving only 1/4 of calories on average compared to their daily nutrition requirements. Children, especially from urban households, are found consuming biscuits, chips, noodles and candies as their major daytime meals almost on a daily basis. According to a study carried out involving 745 children from 12 months to 23 months of age in Kathmandu, a majority have been found to have been consuming junk foods even as their lunch or daytime snack. The study has concluded that the children consuming junk foods as their daily diets have been found to have deficiencies of protein, calcium and vitamins, among other vital nutrients. The nutritional deficiency has been found to have obstructed both mental and physical development of children. The study has unveiled that even the educated and wealthy families have been feeding their children with the food items with minimal nutritional values, although with the availability of other healthier substitutes in their households. This has been attributed to both lack of awareness and negligence. Going by a different perspective, the children in remote and poor districts such as Humla, Jumla, Acham and Bazura, among others, have long been compelled to go through malnutrition merely because they have hardly anything to eat to go about their daily lives. The government has been spending as much as 1 billion rupees every year to improve the scenario of malnutrition, but to no avail. The flood victims of Province 2 have expressed outrage towards the Federal Parliament's State Affairs and Good Governance Committee. The victims have vented their ire at the team deployed by the committee, citing delay in providing them relief materials, including basic food items. They expressed their dismay for being forced to survive only on noodles and beaten rice for an entire week after being displaced by the flood. As many as 36 people lost their lives in Province 2 alone, whereas more than 3,000 houses have completely been damaged and more than 11,000 families have been displaced in the region. Victims have claimed that different organizations have provided relief materials. However, the federal government has hardly done anything other than monitoring. The victims have been facing scarcity of food and shelter along with the risk of snake bites. Welcome back. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the residents of Bara and Bhaktapur why hasn't the government been able to work effectively and efficiently with regard to the rescue and relief of the flood and landslide victims. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
गर्नै नचाहेर नसकेको बाढी मात्र होइन कि गत 4 वर्ष अघि गएको भूकम्पको पनि पुनर्स्थापना कहीं पनि गर्नै सकेका छैन।
भूबनोट पनि त्यस्तै छ। त्यसकारणले जनचेतना पनि कमी नै छ हाम्रो नेपालमा।
जसको घरै छैन, घरै खसिसकेको छ, त्यसलाई पुनः घरवासको व्यवस्था मिलाइदियो भने
उहाँहरू बिचमा नै कुरा नमिले क्या। अब यहाँ यति गरे बापत अब यो बजेट अनुसार अब हामीले कति खान पाउने, तिमीहरूले कति खाने भने भागबण्डामा नै उहाँहरू व्यस्त हुनुहुन्छ।
कसैले राहत दिन लाग्यो भने त्यसमा 50% पैसा राहतको पैसा आफै चाहिँ सरकारले चाहिँ बटुल्ने यस्तो गरेको छ। अनि त्यसबाट चाहिँ यो हुन नसकेको कारण यो
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what is necessary to discourage the consumption of junk foods like biscuits and noodles? Your options are A. Promotion of local and homemade foods, B. Public awareness, and C. Curbing production and imports. The voting is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. With this, let's move on to the sports news.
Sports news.
The T20 World Asia Region Qualifiers has begun in Singapore today. Hosts Singapore are taking on Qatar in the inaugural match, while Nepal will play against Qatar tomorrow. Along with Nepal, Singapore, Qatar, Malaysia and Kuwait are participating at the T20 World Asia Region Qualifiers. Speaking at the pre-match conference held in Singapore, the captains of all the participating teams stated that their ambition was to win every match. Team Nepal is considered the strongest team among the 5 participating nations. Nepal had just recently defeated hosts Malaysia, clean sweeping the 2-match series. Nepal looks confident ahead of the qualifiers and expects to top the T20 World Asia Region Qualifiers. Nepal is ranked the highest in the ICC rankings among the participating teams. Nepal is ranked 11th, while Qatar is 21st, Singapore 23rd, Kuwait 28th, and Malaysia 35th. Considering the size of the ground in Singapore, every team has batsmen who can bat explosively. Nepal debuted in T20 World only in 2014. Nepal, however, failed to qualify in other T20 World Cups after that. This is the first tournament Nepal is playing after electing Umesh Patwal of India as the head coach of the Nepalese national team. Champions League winners Liverpool have suffered a 2-1 defeat against Sevilla in a pre-season friendly. Alejandro Polo scored the match winner in the 90th minute of the friendly despite being down to 10 men, breaking a tie that stood the entire second half. Nolito scored in the first half for Sevilla, while Divock Origi was responsible for the only goal for Liverpool. The exhibition was the second of 3 friendlies for Liverpool in America following their Champions League title, although the results have not been ideal after suffering a loss against Borussia Dortmund in the first match on Friday. Sevilla were the better team for much of the first half, getting the majority of chances while getting a few shots on goal. Liverpool will face Sporting CP in a friendly at Yankee Stadium in New York on Wednesday before returning to Europe. Sevilla have an upcoming friendly against TSG Hoffenheim before the start of the league season. Brigade Boys Club have won the Lalit Memorial Under-18 Football Championship title for a consecutive second time, defeating Nepal Police Club by a solitary goal. In the final held at Anfa Complex at Sadhubato, Lalitpur, Brigade Boys' Brijesh Chaudhary scored the only goal of the match in the 23rd minute, making good use of the pass by Prithvi Chaudhary. Nepal Police Club had a good chance of leveling the match in the 70th minute, but failed to take advantage of the opportunity as Ravin Rai's header hit the crossbar. Brigade Boys Club held on to the lead and secured the 1-0 victory over Nepal Police Club to claim the title. Brigade Boys defended the title, staying undefeated in the tournament. Along with the title, Brigade Boys received 300,000 rupees in cash prize, while runners-up Nepal Police Club had to settle for 150,000 rupees. Tribhuvan Army Club's Bishal Sunar was handed the Best Goalkeeper award, while Nepal Police Club's Bishal Basnet won the Best Defender award, and Brigade Boys' Shishir Lekhi claimed the Best Midfielder award. Likewise, Brigade Boys' Brijesh Chaudhary won the Best Forward award, while Brigade Boys' Subid Karki was adjudged the best coach of the tournament. It is now time for our daily special segment of The Beat. Tunnel farming has become quite popular in Gavre, one of the capital's adjoining districts. It has been found that tunnel farming that uses plastic cover in the shape of a tunnel is very useful in controlling the harmful effects of various insects and adverse weather conditions. The tunnel farming has picked up in Gavre Palanchok's Panauti in recent time. This area of land in Panauti was earlier only known for paddy farming. But with the advent of tunnel farming technology, farmers have been reaping benefits by cultivating tomatoes, cucumber and capsicum among others. The technology can be utilized to cultivate these vegetables throughout the year to the delight of the local farmers. The much-touted Pokhara Zoological Park in Gandaki province hit the controversy just a day ahead of its formal inauguration. The Zoological Park, considered as a pride project of Gandaki province, was set for its inauguration on the 17th of July. The locals resorted to protest after the zoo was registered as a non-profit company. The locals have stalled the opening of the zoological park, citing that the park has been registered under a company in the name of few individuals. The province government and local level have already invested 20 million rupees under the project. The zoological park boasts of 361 different herbs along with wild animals, some endangered. Experts opine that the park can be developed as a research center to study herbs, birds and animals. If the park comes into operation, it can be an additional tourism destination of Gandaki province. This is Pramar Dahal for Kantipur News Desk. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin is at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day ahead.